Thank you very much, Amy. We're here to celebrate choice because when you don't have choice, you don't have freedom. And the more freedom we have, the better our country is. So a little bit of my personal background. I am a homeschool graduate. So I went all the way from coonskin cap to college graduate. And I survived homeschooling. And I loved every minute of it. It was fantastic. And my parents, I'm a recipient of the choice that my parents made to actually choose to educate me the way they saw fit. Because the most important thing to my parents wasn't the academics. The academics were important, but that wasn't the purpose of what they did. Their goal was to provide an environment where they could raise me with an eternal purpose, and so that I could love learning and be able to learn on my own. Love this microphone. Okay. Because John Adams said there are two types of education. One that should teach us how to make a living, and the other how to live. And I want to thank my parents for making that choice to teach me both how to make a living and how to live. Hopefully I'm doing a good job with the second part. So I was born back in the 80s. We grew up in Georgia, and back then it was the early days of homeschooling, and homeschooling wasn't exactly legal. We didn't have that choice and opportunity back in the early days. That was back when my parents were listening to James Dobson. They heard this couple, Raymond and Dorothy Moore, talk about this thing called homeschooling, and they said, that sounds interesting. So they started going to all these conferences, and then they started to homeschool, and my dad got very involved as a lobbyist to make it so that it was legal for other parents to have that same choice. And choice matters, and now today we've gone from no choice to we've got lots of choices, especially in the homeschool market. You've got traditional homeschoolers, semi-traditional, Charlotte Mason, unschooling, online schools, schools in a box, university models, co-ops, accredited, non-accredited, chartered, structured, unstructured, lightly unstructured, classical, neoclassical, semi-neoclassical, and partially hydrogenated school choice options. And the biggest thing I've learned is that parents actually need to start to trust themselves to actually make those really good choices. A lot of times people worry about homeschool kids not succumbing to peer pressure. Well, we're actually usually fine. It's the parents that have a lot of peer pressure problems. One story, I was actually at a homeschool conference, and a homeschool mom came up to me and she said, all right, I want to switch to use your Math UC curriculum. And I said, great, that's why I'm here. I'm here to sell you math books. And then I said, well, how is your daughter doing now with what currently, well, my daughter's doing great. The program we're using is working just great. I was like, all right, is she learning? Is she progressing? Yes. Is she enjoying it? Yes. I said, why are you wanting to change? And she said, well, all my friends are switching math programs, and I thought it was time that we just switched. And I said, I'd love to take your check, but if it's working for you and your kid, don't buy my product. And that's the key. We want to be able to empower parents to make those choices and do what's working for their kids. And if it's working, keep doing it. And if it's not working, try something else. So we need to actually trust those parents to make those choices. And then we also have at the national level and at the state level, we've got the other choices that we have. We've got to defend those. So my dad, as I said, back in the early days in Georgia, fought hard to actually get the right to homeschool. He actually started a group called the Minutemen. He used to record phone messages on our answering machine. So if you called our house between 5 and 7 o'clock at night and just listened to the recording, you get a legislative update. This is before we had Twitter and Facebook and mass emails coming out from HSLDA saying, call your state representative. You would call our house, listen to our voicemail, which was on a little cassette tape, and you would find out who you should call and when you should call. So I guess we could say we were a Tea Party before the Tea Party was cool. But that taught me an important lesson. I saw that, and I guess I'm following in some big footsteps and trying to do the same things. Back in 2012, I actually had the opportunity of attending the first International Congress on Home Education in Berlin, Germany, where they still don't have the rights to educate their children at home. And was one of the signers of the Berlin Declaration, which called for the recognition of the rights of parents to choose how and where their children should be educated. So while homeschooling may be not the first thing you think of when you think of injustice in education, I would say homeschooling is the fundamental element of school choice. If the parents can't choose to school their children at home, then they can't make any other choices. So we need to be able to be thankful for the opportunities we have, and we also need to continue to fight for the freedom for parents to make the educational choices they have for their children. So that's why we're here today, and we've got some more speakers. So thank you very much.